Welcome back, and this is TV3 New Day. It's time for the big issue. But before that, let me remind you that we're cashing out this morning, and you can win 1,000 Ghana cedis just like that. Cool chop. All you have to do is play the game. So pick up your phones. Remember, if you're an MTN user, then this is for you. Dial *439#, select option 2, and just relax as we announce the winners for today. About 4 of you will get 1,000 Ghana cedis each. And the moment your number shows on the screen, that means that you're getting that alert instantly. So please remember to play the game as we continue. But anyway, let's carry on with our conversation this morning. And we have our ladies joining us in the studio. We have Lerato Musa Saka. She's a member of the MPP communications team. Good morning.
Good morning,
welcome back.
Bella. Thank you.
How's it been?
Oh, it's been okay.
We didn't hear from you when they were occupying GW House.
I don't even subscribe to the description of that.
You don't?
No, I don't. I think they could have used a better description. I haven't heard that in this country before. All the protests that have gone on, the minority is planning one.
Occupy BOG.
Occupy BOG. When Occupy Ghana was doing this, Occupy Flagstaff House, there's been Kumi Preko reloaded and all that. So if you go insulting from the onset, it's a put-off for me. Yeah.
It's a put-off for you. So it's just a tag, not the fact that they went on a protest.
Oh, of course, they have the right.
Just the tag. The Occupy Julobi House is what you had a problem with.
They have a right.
So what should they have called it?
Well, it's up to them. They could have been less insulting.
The Julobi is insulting?
Isn't it?
Okay. All right. Well, also joining us this morning is Anaya Achimpim Jantwa. She's the General Secretary for the CPP. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm well.
I'm good, thank you. Larissa says that it shouldn't have been tagged Occupy Julobi House.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit Julo. I mean, I don't understand, but I think Julo means a thief or something like that. And that building is for us. It's a government building.
Okay.
And so once you target in a certain the demonstration was great. I mean, it was wonderful. The people who were there, the numbers were great. The incident of the police was unfortunate, but the name.
Okay.
I had a little problem with the name.
The name should have
yes,
changed.
because you are looking at a seat of government. You see, the Americans didn't like the way Trump behaved, but they never disrespected Trump or the seat. So we need to be careful how we designate the house.
So
that is our presidency. That is the epitome of our government. The things that go in there, I mean, nobody knows, but to designate that building as like a Julobi place. Julobi means, I think,
a child of a thief.
A child of a thief. So does it mean that the building is the child or?
But they weren't protesting against the building, but against the man who sits in the highest office of the land, and that's his office.
But if it's your office, he will leave tomorrow.
Exactly.
If he leaves, does it still become Julobi?
But if young people feel like a lot of money has circulated within the country and they're not seeing that, any results in their lifestyle, in the economy, etc., don't they have a right to describe that?
You have a right, but we also are trained to respect our elders.
Okay.
Do you get me? That is how we are trained. So no matter if you have the opportunity to speak, you speak your mind, but in a manner that it's not insulting. Do you get me? As you are saying, money has circulated. We borrow too much. Our debt to GDP is 100%. I mean, we don't see anything tangible. I mean, to hold on to for the money that has gone down. So everybody knows what it is.
Okay.
You should ask for accountability.
Of course.
I mean, it is key. We need, and Ghanaians are not asking for accountability. We need to ask for accountability.
I see. Beatrice Annan Esquire is joining us as well. She's a member of the legal team for the NDC and a member of John Dramani Mahama's campaign team. Good morning. I just had to. Oh, I even forgot that you also. Oh, never mind. Let me carry on. Beatrice, how you doing? Good morning. I wanted to say it, but if I say last week I asked her, she said, "No, you don't worry. Let's leave it there. Let's talk to Beatrice." Oh, you're not.
I'm not part of it.
Okay, I understand.
I'm a member of the National Communications team. I'm not a member of any flag bearers.
Beatrice, however, is a member of John Dramani
Mahama's
Mahama's team.
In as much as it's not right to insult anybody, it wasn't right for the MPP to insult His Excellency John Dramani Mahama at the time, incompetent, useless, and all those words.
Okay.
It is not right to insult any president. That one we should establish it.
Okay. All right. Beatrice, good morning.
Good
How are you
morning, Bella.
doing?
I'm fine.
You're good?
I'm fine. And I must say that I must commend you and Nashako as women making us proud every morning. You know, it's been a long time. And when I sit at home and I see that we are beginning to speak up, we are beginning to say that we can have a better society. We are beginning to call for accountability as young people, especially as young women. I am super proud of you too. So you guys should keep pushing. Just one day we may find what we are looking for.
I hope you say the same thing when you come to power and we're calling you out
You
for...
know, I belong to a political party and a political culture that is very tolerant. In fact, if there is one thing you can credit the NDC and President Mahama is the fact that he's too tolerant. Sometimes the challenge is that people feel he's too tolerant. President Mahama perhaps is the most vilified president, and sometimes he's even gracious to his critics. You remember A+ being one of his strongest critics. He met him at a party. Manasseh Azuri said a lot of unfounded things. In fact, at the time, Manasseh said even when he vilified President Mahama, he was asked if he needed security for protection. So that is the kind of grace the president I associate with carries, and that is the kind of tolerance. So we are tolerant because we believe that we are in leadership for the people. And so feedback from the people is very important for the forward march. So you can trust that for the NDC, no journalist died under our watch because they criticized government. No journalist has been gagged. No individuals, were threatened. You can't find that. And I'm proud of such a political tradition because you cannot have a democracy where you say that people must use words that please me or that satisfy my ego or people might just speak in the way that glorifies me. No,
you cannot.
We must have a democracy where we encourage young people to speak up and ask for what they think they deserve.
But should they do that with a tag Occupy Julobi House, for example?
The tag Occupy Julobi, I'm not part of the organizers, but I believe that is pun intended. You know, the BOG, today we'll be talking about that, had printed more than 80 billion CDs and is the mess that...
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Is the mess that we find ourselves in. The BOG says that almost more than 30% of that money is outside the traditional banking system. It means that these monies are in the homes of people. So if you print 80 billion for government and 30% of that money is not in the traditional system, it means that somebody has taken the money away. And so allow that, you see, if the young people can pick arms, if they can't use violence.
Of which they do not have to.
And of which they do not have to. And they will have to use PAN to communicate their feelings. Please allow them. And I see absolutely nothing wrong with it. If it's offensive, I think that the president has offended the rights and liberties of young people. And so I don't see anything wrong with that.
All right. Well, let's take a look at a conversation, a brief one, part of the conversation we had with Honorable Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen, the former Trade and Industry Minister and as well member of the NPP, who announced his resignation on Monday and indicated that he was going independent. And so he describes himself now as an independent presidential candidate. Well, he had some choice words for the NPP, who had said that he did not inform them before leaving the party publicly. Take a look.
Alan Kyerematen expressed reservations about the NPP's response to his decision to leave and denied any courtesies owed to the party.
I have a strong reservation with the description that I left the party clandestinely. To put a negative slur on the fact that I did not inform the party, it's a bit strange for me. Why do we have to have a public discussion on who I talked to about exiting from the party? Is that a subject matter that we should have a discussion on?
He explained the pillars of his vision for Ghana.
My movement, the movement for change, is seeking to establish a government of national unity. Where people from all walks of life, regardless of their political affiliation, ethnic and religious affiliation, where all the sections of society can participate in our governance structure.
Yeah. All right. So that is Honorable John Kwadwo Alan Kyerematen, and he talked about the fact that he owed no one really, that public discussion on why he was leaving the party. But he said, however, that he went through due process when he wanted to leave the party. So he really doesn't understand why the NPP, for some reason, describing his decision to leave as clandestine. I'll start off with Anaya, and Lerato, I'll come to you shortly on that. But do you agree what he says, that this is not a conversation to be had in the first place? I mean, he's left the party. Can we allow him to go in peace and go ahead with his campaign?
Yes, they should allow him. Bella, good morning, and good morning to your viewers, and good morning to my CPP comrades, and good morning to my friend Abdul Latif Dan, MP for Ablekuma Central. So the point is that I don't see where anybody is talking about Alan. He's gone. Do you get me? He is gone. When they were beating his agents, did they ask permission from him before they beat his agents? Did they? They didn't ask permission from him before they pounced on his agents. Alan believes that, and I think he said it somewhere, that he is not going to wait for other people to be maimed before he leaves. Even this small group of people of 28, somebody has lost his eye, somebody has lost their neck. People have been beaten. How much more 1,000 people, 2,000 people? So he wants to protect his people, and he has left. And I believe that I saw his billboard today by the roadside.
Okay.
Yes, and I think he is on the way to do whatever he wants. That is his desire. And he's even wasted too much time. Alan should have left long ago. The signs that they didn't want him was there. It was clear.
From what point should he have exited the party?
No, I mean, he should have, the first thing he should have done was to have maybe taken a seat as a member of parliament and be with the people instead of going to be trade minister. So
he shouldn't have accepted the ministerial position?
No, I mean, what was he doing there? What did they really, you see, one thing that sits with me and I always remember was the day Alan went to parliament to talk about one district manufacturer. He was fumbling. It was unlike Alan. So it took former leader, minority leader, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, to tell him that, look, my brother, stop. Because the intervention you are talking about is not even in your office. You don't have the information, so don't keep on talking about it. Let's move on to other areas. Do you get me? And he was always in a straitjacket, making sure that he does the right thing so that he will be supported. It's as if somebody made him feel that he has to do right to be accepted. Yesterday, he was himself. On your sister's station, he was himself. And, I mean, he was okay. So if he has resigned, why do you even do it? If Alan is not important, if Alan is not going to cause a stir, if the butterfly is not going to enter the trunk of the elephant for the elephant to go crazy, why are they talking? Why do you even do a press conference because Alan left?
They shouldn't inform they asked their followers to be calm, their members to be calm.
So why should they be calm? What was happening? So it means Alan is formidable. If you see an ant walking around, will you even wait to look at it? You might even step on it. But because Alan is formidable, they are saying their people should be calm. Why should they be calm if Alan, who is a nobody, who didn't fare well in their supposed super delegates Congress, I mean, he didn't fare well. Who didn't do well, who is nobody, has left. And your rank and file is shaking. And you're asking them to be calm.
From where you sit, is he going to cause, some confusion within the party with regards to elections?
Of course, he has following. You think, I mean, somebody like Alan has no following. He started from the beginning of the formation of the New Patriotic Party. Empretec, Young Executive Forum and all that. He has been around for a long time. He has been around as long as people like Chairman McMenu has been around. Do you get me? He has been around for as long as most of the people there have been around. So Alan has following, and Alan has even following outside. You see, when they were doing this delegates thing, one of these research, I've forgotten the name, they did their own research and found that Alan is more popular outside than within. Yes. Nobody can say that Alan is not going to take something away from the MPP.
But will he win the presidential?
That one I can't tell. God makes kings. Kings are not made by human beings.
But sometimes the numbers also will prove.
Yes, but
if you're headed in the right direction or not.
No, but the point is that at the end of the day, God will decide who will be king, and I always have that, because in 2008, Nana Addo, His Excellency Nana Addo was the first person. Then they went for a runoff, and it was His Excellency Atta Mills. It took a constituency time to decide who was president. And it was ordained that His Excellency Atta Mills would be president, and he was. So at this point, nobody can determine that this person or that person within their space. So let's wait and see what happens. But I think that there should be some quietness now. The man has left.
But he's talking as well. I mean, now he's talking, and that's why people are asking that why has he waited this long
because
to talk about the kind of treatment that was meted out
if
to
you are
him
in a certain
the
environment, and you are, the word is not coming, but you are being intimidated, you find it very difficult to even come out to speak.
This is a whole founding member.
Yes, but they can intimidate you. You have a structure that has been set aside around you to make you uncomfortable. He's talking now because he's free. Have you seen a bird flying out of a cage? It goes very high before it settles, because he's been caged. He feels free. So now he wants to talk. I think we should leave it. It's a therapy.
Okay.
I think wherever he wants to go and talk, they should allow him to talk. It's therapy. Nobody should gag him. For whatever he's been through, sometimes it's painful. I mean, to see you as a founding member, or you started, I've gone through it. I haven't talked. The day I talk, people will know.
With what, your party?
With my PURC. You remember?
PURC, okay.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about party
No,
politics.
that one will come to that later. But in the PURC, I almost like nurtured it, put my life on the line for it. I was intimidated. I was pushed out.
By who?
I'm not Alan's time yet. When the time comes like this, I also talk. Do you get it?
Who intimidated you, Nanaya?
When people are pained, you have to allow them to speak. And it will take the pain out.
So you left the PURC because you were intimidated?
Yes, I was pushed out. Who said I left?
By the NPP?
Of course. Orchestrated from behind. Now they say that they were not the people who did it. Who did it? I mean, let's forget about it. But you see, one thing that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said in 2016, that I'll always take with me, he said that posterity will judge me. And today posterity has judged me, whether I did a good job or I didn't do a good job. Posterity will judge Alan, whether it is okay for him to have left or it wasn't okay for him to have left. For now, I think that everybody should leave him alone.
But if you listen to even the chairman and conversations around it, he said that he also tried, the chairman of the NPP, he's also tried a number of years to become the chairman. I mean, 20 years or so. He had to go through all those processes, and eventually he won. So why can't Alan just bide his time and wait?
How old is Alan?
He's 68 around this
so
time.
he's going to bide his time for another 8 years. He'll be what? 76. You think we don't want another Baba go slow?
Baba goes slow?
Yes.
Do we already have one?
Yes, we have one now, and we are going through problems. Nana Addo, if he was younger, wouldn't do the things he's doing now. Nana Addo, as a younger person, was very vibrant, very great. Today, age, I always say, is not a good denominator of kinship. So we don't need people who are 80 years to be president. If you are within your 60s, it's fine. You are saying everything is okay. But beyond that, even your body is telling you that you cannot move on. In the morning, you have aches and pains. So why should Alan wants to, why should anybody force, why should somebody tell Alan what he should do? Alan is not a small boy. He has thought through it. He has consulted. And this is what he wants. They should leave him. Anybody who has their own formula should take their formula.
But must he be president at all costs?
I am saying that you don't know what he wants to do. Leave him. If he wants to be president, that is his ambition. Somebody's ambition, you cannot say that you will not allow it. You have your formula. Somebody can stay 30 years waiting for something. Another person cannot stay a day waiting for it. Do you get me? Some people are, I don't mind waiting. Others are, I mind waiting. So I think everybody should leave Alan. Your prescription will not be the same as mine. Because we have different dispositions and different body makeup. The prescription that will be good for you, we might even have the same disease, but the doctor might prescribe different medicine. So please, if somebody stayed 20 years, somebody stayed 50 years, Alan says that I am resigning, period. Nobody should disturb. Now they are saying that they will talk to him, he will come back. You wait for somebody to resign.
But it's happened before with him.
Why did it happen?
Where he tendered in his resignation.
Yes, and they asked him to come back.
Eventually
if he knew at the time, I believe that maybe she should have stayed where he was. And what has he been through ever since he resigned and came back?
He says the intimidation never stopped.
Yes, that's the point. So if he had stayed then, maybe he would have carted his own part in a better fashion than now. He said intimidation never stopped. So maybe when he resigned then, he should have stayed on. And, I mean, did whatever he wanted to do. But they encourage him because, you see, when you are interested in something and you love it, even if it is not good and you are unhappy, you stay in.
Let me come to Lerato. And Nana, I know you have to leave because you have an engagement, and so maybe we'll allow you to take leave of us at a point. But Lerato, let me come to you. And of course, you're listening to Nana, and she says that allow him to do what he wants to do. What is all this conversation about why he did not inform the party before going? He's not a small boy. He's a grown man, a founding member of the party. He, of all people, should know the processes enough to know what to do if he decides to leave the party.
Bella, good morning once again. Good morning to Beatrice and Nanaya and to our viewers. If Nanaya says everybody should leave Honorable Alan Kyerematen alone, who has stopped him? Nobody has made a comment on why on the fact that he shouldn't leave. Or nobody has said what he has decided to do is against any principles or any law or anything. Honorable Alan Kyerematen, in his own words, has been part of this party since 1992. As a founding member, he's in, I'm sure within the past few days since he came out publicly to say he was resigning. We've seen a litany of his achievements and how he's gone through his own personal political career. If Honorable Alan Kyerematen had just said, I'm resigning, but he made certain categorical statements
like
against the New Patriotic Party, even though he's decided to resign, still believes in his tenets. He made categorical statements about the party being hijacked, the National Council taking unpopular decisions.
Is he
and all
wrong?
That.
Has the party not been hijacked?
The party, how can anybody hijack the New Patriotic Party?
He says by some party apparatchiks, by some senior members of the party and government.
How can anybody hijack the New Patriotic Party? How?
It's not possible. Nobody has hijacked the party.
How can anybody hijack a political party?
So why are they forcing an establishment candidate or an establishment candidate on the party?
At every point in time, there's a defined leadership. At every point in time in the life of any political party, any government, there's defined leadership. That doesn't put away the constitution that guides the institution, just like our national constitution. We all take our daily life decisions, but we're always careful of the fact that we don't breach laws, we don't breach regulations. Mr. Alan Kyerematen decided that he's resigning from the party to pursue his own personal ambitions. It's a painful one. It's regrettable. It's disappointing. Because politics is about numbers. So even if one person decides to step out, that's one vote gone. What does the Constitution say? 50% plus one. So nobody will say, or nobody, and I haven't heard anyone, be it the leadership, be it government, be it the rank and file, say that his leaving is not unfortunate. It is. If for nothing at all, that's a vote gone. that is another resource in the party gone. But nobody can tie Mr. Alan Kyerematen to a group or a party or a situation he doesn't want to be in.
Well, it's not.
But
Is it really that he doesn't want to be in? He says that the party is not the same as the one he joined before, which is why he's making this decision. So clearly, you've made the party uncomfortable for him.
Yesterday, when we were speaking to Mr. Alan Kyerematen, he was factual that he has a strong personality.
Yes.
So who can intimidate someone with a strong personality? In 2007, prior to 2008 election, then we had a little over, I think, 1,600 or 1,700 thereabouts. But there was less than 2,000 delegates then who voted. Prior to that, these same allegations that Mr. Alan Kyerematen is making were made against his candidature. Was it true then? Was it true that he was the establishment candidate?
Well, he says that he's never really been a Kufuor boy. Kufuor was not the one that was pushing him. He wanted to be president himself.
At that time, he was a minister. His Excellency, former President Kufuor, was the president. Those allegations were made. They were not true. What has changed? His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the president now. You have his vice president and other well-meaning and qualified members of our party going to vie for presidency, flag bearership, sorry. And one definitely is the vice president of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, one who's kept faith with him throughout. He didn't just win 2007 flag bearership to be president. He went 3 times before becoming president. But we all had, at least I was old enough to follow the 2007. If we go talking about 1979 and all those years behind, I can only talk about accounts of people who were there. But 2007, I was old enough to follow and form my own opinions. Were those allegations true?
Are the allegations true now that Dr. Bawumia is the establishment candidate who's being forced on all of you?
Has anybody given Dr. Bawumia or any of the other candidates any special treatment?
Well, his statement clearly shows that there was a strategy skewed in favor on
the MPP,
towards one participant, which, of course, we all deduce is Dr. Bawumia.
In the MPP response to Mr. Alan Kyerematen, Article 13.11 and Article 13.22 were cited as reference points based on the allegation made on it. In Mr. Alan Kyerematen's statement, did he cite any categorical clause or anything? All those things that were there can be taken as allegations or speculations.
But at least we have evidence of one of his agents being assaulted. There is evidence on that. What do you say to that as well? Is that not enough to show then that maybe he was right to an extent, that he was being intimidated, his agents were being intimidated?
You don't solve the problem by sitting outside the solution. The issue that happened in Northeast, nobody in the party endorsed it. Immediately after that election, the General Secretary released a statement, and those people were referred to the disciplinary committee. Mr. Alan Kyerematen, in his own words, is a founding member, has been through all the changing phases of our party's constitution, knows how the party runs better than I do. We have just started, relatively young in this business. He has been through all the phases, the changing phases of our political party. From, he started, let's say he started from 2007. He's contested every flag bearership contest until he withdrew from this one. 2007, 1996.
But to be fair, he stepped aside to allow Nana Addo to go ahead when there should have been a runoff.
You find yourself in a political party. You don't join the political party. We all join with different motive. But once you join a group, you must have some level of love or passion for the ideals, the growth, and the sustainability of the group. Why join? It's voluntary. Nobody forces anybody. Even if I come today and convince you or try to convince you to join the New Patriotic Party, the decision you make is solely your decision. I may have initiated it, but you joining or you making that decision is your sole decision. And you may have made that decision based on certain expectations, maybe personal or maybe from the group, depending on what you know about the group. You get into a group to make it better.
And if you can't, you leave.
He's decided to leave. But what the point I was making was, his first statement stated some of these things. What was the response of the party? It was being looked into. The decision that he said the National Council took, it was subjected to a vote, 73 against 9. Do you accept the decision of the 9 as against the decision of the 73 people who were in favor? But be as it may, it's a choice he's made.
Okay.
He's violated no rule. I think, and I agree with party, that he could have done it better. For his stature in the party, for the kind of followership he draws within the party, I think he could have given the party that respect to at least pre-inform party leadership.
Well, he says he went through the
putting
due
it
process.
in a press conference.
But
that is his choice.
Is that why, as a party, you are worried that he's going to split your votes? Because now he's taking some of your followers away, and that could also spoil your chances of breaking the 8?
The New Patriotic Party is bigger than me, is bigger than any member in the party, is bigger than His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo today is president because delegates within the New Patriotic Party saw him as the right candidate to be flag bearer for the NPP, and fast forward, becoming president.
Okay.
And they kept faith with him and all that. I think when Mr. Alan Kyerematen is talking about strategy and all that, there's no contest without strategy from contestants.
Okay.
There's no group, even within our small group, even within family circles, we lobby each other for certain decisions. So those things are part of the political landscape. You look at the president for Kenya, His Excellency Ruto, who thought after the
former president,
was going to be. It had always been between the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Mr. Shangirai or something like that was the name. It was heated. At a point, there was even some form of shared government.
Okay.
But all these things, we also need to remember that as we go through our daily lives, as we participate in politics, as we put ourselves out for politics, there's something also called destiny.
All right, thank you. Evans Blaze says they keep acting like all is good, but deep down, they know the damage Alan can cause. Okay. Well, Beatrice, I'm coming to you, and of course, looking at the fact that he's going independent, history hasn't been too favorable, but he says that he believes that this is the time that Ghanaians are looking for a third force, and he is that third force that they are looking for. Is the NDC threatened by his decision to go independent?
First of all, let me say that the NDC is not threatened by the candidature of Alan Kyerematen. In fact, in the 2024 election, the only credible candidate and the only person who can take us where we should be going and where we should be is President John Mahama. And we are not saying this on the basis of partisan. You see, in that election, electorates will be having a benefit of deciding between candidates or major candidates who have had the opportunity to play ball with the nation before. So if Bawumia emerges as a flag bearer, we will know what he did as a leader of the economic management team. We will know his track record as a vice president, which we are agreeing that is 40-year abysmal. We will know if Ken emerges, The kind of, I don't even know how to describe him, the kind of person, I mean, the MPP is bereft of fine materials to come and contest in the 2024 election.
I take exception to that.
Oh, you don't have any fine
I
materials?
take exception to that, and I think she needs to withdraw that.
She needs to withdraw that statement.
Yes.
It's part of the minute.
needs to
Have you seen the minute? That when you're on the show and somebody mentions Dr. Bawumia, ask the host to withdraw.
She also
Okay,
mentioned Bawumia. She's virtually attacking the 5 people. And I don't think Beatrice...
What is wrong with the statement that the MPP is bereft of fine materials?
MPP is not.
Okay.
Unless
Well,
you
she
can-
says
So if
take
you
that back.
say-
It's
Unless
not.
I take great exception to the
I'm not going to take
description.
anything.
Okay.
So I should say what? The MPP
Okay,
has
then
fine
let's continue
material.
if we want to go on that tangent.
What
Sorry,
is-
but would you take it back? Because Lerato is not happy with the statement that you've made.
We are not here to
The
make people
MPP
happy
is not
when we
bereft
speak.
of
So
competent
that's what you have
Okay.
to say.
So she needs to withdraw that, unless that's the tangent she wants to go.
Beatrice, I'll leave that to you to
Can I
decide.
have a very civil
I'm even
conversation
shocked this
with
morning
them?
that we shouldn't say that the MPP is bereft of fine materials. Let me show you. In fact, before I come to the Alan Kyerematen matter, the MPP is not only bereft of fine materials, they don't even have a solution for us as we speak. What are you talking about? We live in the country where we are being told by the President's own State of the Nation's address that 40 years, our country has never been this degraded. And you are telling me that what? We don't have the right to say that the MPP is bereft? What is the track record of Kennedy Agyapong, who is one of the frontliners? What is the achievement of Dr. Bawumia, apart from leading all the worst macroeconomic indicators? They simply don't have the men they said they have.
Digitalization.
What is it? What about it? Tell me, what about it? What about it is an achievement? Tell me. You see, this morning, I wanted to be very calm because we are coming to speak about Alan Kyerematen. But the MPP should not dictate to us how we should rob their egos and how we should demand for accountability and how we should question the candidates they are presenting for 2024, because we are in the mess we find ourselves because of their incompetence, mismanagement, profligacy. For the first time in the history of our country, we are being told that the BOG has printed 80 billion, which has never happened under any, from 1957 till now, that Bank of Ghana would make losses of 60.8 billion cedis. And you say that you are not bereft of men? What are you talking about? I mean, I don't even want to get angry.
But they say they have the men.
Where are the men? Where are the men? Inflation from 15.6% to almost a 50%, and you have the men. The cedi depreciated in 2022 by 54%, and you have the men. In the area of health, you have no achievement. In the area of water, you have no achievement. In the area of sanitation, there is nothing to show. In the area of education, you have messed up what was a fine educational system, and you say we shouldn't talk about it because you are not happy. We are not here to satisfy the feelings of people in government. We are here to talk about how we are suffering under the mismanagement of this government, and that nobody can take away from us. Now back to the Alan Kyerematen matter.
He's one of the men, or he was one of the men.
You see, Alan Kyerematen's matter is a bit nuanced, sometimes sad and sometimes funny. His exit from the MPP only shows that the NPP party is in disarray, that Nana Addo is not a Democrat, that Nana Addo has not only destroyed the country, he has also destroyed his party. Look at the leading members of the MPP. I'm not a member of their party, and so I don't even care what happens internally. But to the extent that they are participants or stakeholders in the democracy that we enjoy, we have the right to comment about what happens in their party. Kwame Kojo-Mpianyim is saying that Nana Addo is the cause of what is happening. And everybody and every well-meaning person in the MPP is saying that the party is in disarray. But what it shows you is that for a fine gentleman like Alan Kyerematen, who is generally known to be very calm to leave the MPP, it shows it's not a party that any young person, if you are watching me today, should dedicate your life to and work.
Because Alan has
Because
left?
you know why? They don't reward hard work. You must either be from a Dankwa tradition, a Dombo tradition, a Buzia tradition. Your grandfather must either have had lunch with some of the founding fathers of UP, or you must some way somehow trace your lineage. It is not a party that rewards hard work. And so if you're a young person, Alan has dedicated more than 30 years of his life. Today he's 60 years, 68 years. And so for more than 30 years, for all the things that he did for the party, he could not even get a free and fair election. So that allow me to participate in the democratic process so that people can make a decision on me whether I should, be the flag bearer or not. That he didn't even get. So you work for a party for all your youthful years that you could have done something with it, and then you cannot even get to participate in the democracy. And you see, when these things were happening at the national level, look at all the coup d'etats that are happening around us. Nobody died. We went into a democratic election and 8 people lost their lives. We all kept quiet, including Alan. We were in this country when Nana Addo imported people to come and train, mercenaries to come and train invisible and Delta forces, and they had to be deported. They were creating a certain militia group. They were putting aside democratic credentials. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo said it, that was the beginning. They took away their party chairman. They ousted their party secretary. They all lived in the party. Today, the fruits that they planted have germinated. So if Alan has left, it's a very sad thing for him that having dedicated your life, having worked, I think he's the longest trade minister in the NPP administration, 6 years under Kufuor, and almost more than 6 years. So almost 12 years as a trade minister under the NPP, and this is how they treat him. But it shows you that the NPP is not a party that any nation should entrust its management and destiny and future into.
But do you think he's done a good job? Because I've heard some of your party members say that if for any reason he was trade minister for 6 years, even Komenda Sugar Factory, he could not operationalize it. So how then does he go on to say that he wants to be president?
I keep saying
and you are here speaking for him?
No, I'm not speaking for him. I'm just saying that what happened to him is sad. But Alan is part of the forbidden fruit. And so he cannot choose that, bite, you see the apple, will bite part of it, and then the rest are good. You see, in your interview with him yesterday, he sought to suggest that all the brilliant ideas I have, I suggested them, it wasn't taken. It shows you, or Alan is trying to tell us that, one, the NPP is not development oriented. And so they will not take ideas that will bring development. So even him as trade minister, he never had the opportunity to implement his ideas. But he
listed some of them, and even the NPP came out and said, well, if you are touting them as your achievements, you did it under Akufo-Addo, so that's an NPP achievement.
Alan, should not think that he's even an alternative.
He's not?
He's not.
But he says you people don't even have a policy.
No, as for Alan,
He says the NDC has not even listed one policy at the moment. He has GTP, he has movements for change. You know, with the 4 thematic areas. GTP has about 11 or 12 areas that he's looking at. He has put out his plan for the country. NDC has not even listed one.
Let me laugh and tell Alan that. You see, he's just like the breed of the NPP. He's coming from that breed, so I don't expect any better from him. As trade minister, he should tell us who created the Exim Bank. What was the aim of the Exim Bank that the NDC created? Is to engage in import and export to make sure that our currency is stabilized. What did he do with the Exim Bank? They were giving loans to their cronies. Who created the stabilization fund? That's when we had COVID, we had to fall on. In the area of jobs, the Hansard or the budgets which they themselves presented in 2017 showed that the NDC had created more jobs than them, by far over 88,000 more jobs if you do the differences. I don't have time to go through the various paragraphs and things, but if you take their 2017 budget. So he, Alan, cannot say that. You know what he's doing? He now has a conflicted personality.
How so?
He only left the MPP because he was not treated fairly. He wished that their party would be more democratic. He wished that some, to quote him, unscrupulous people are not behind and taking the party. He wished that some few people have not hijacked the party so they can have their civil liberties and rights. Today, it's not like that. But he and his tradition cannot come close to anything that the NDC did, not even 1%. In fact, I keep saying that there is no basis for us to compare the NDC and the MPP, except because they are both political parties. Otherwise, when it comes to development, otherwise, when it comes to a government that leads transformation in every area and sector of the economy, not just in Accra, but across the 16 regions of Ghana, we cannot, and we should not even make a mistake of comparing, how do you call it, NDC to MPP. But you know what Alan is doing? There are a group of disgruntled MPP people who are so disappointed with their own government, who cannot also come and be associated with the NDC. And they are leading a certain narrative of a third force. And so Alan is trying to say that, let me bash the MPP small. Let me try and find something bad to say about the NDC. And maybe these young people or these people who want a third force outside MPP, NDC will resonate with me. He's too late.
It's too late?
He's too late.
Is he not being smart? Because if you listen to public sentiment, they say they want a third force. Enough of the duopoly.
See, there is nothing wrong with duopoly. In fact, in many jurisdictions, in the US, in UK, in Germany, in most jurisdictions, you have a lot of political parties. But every time there are two political parties that dominate the election or the party that forms government.
But there's better developments there, even with the duopoly. We cannot even boast of good roads.
So let me say, so what we should be looking for is the political party between the duopoly who has a transformational agenda, or who has the people at heart to develop. Because you see, development is nuanced, and you need a lot of local government and mass participation, experts and things, and that is why we form political parties. So he cannot come and say that because people are disgruntled and people are not doing the right thing, oh, I'm a third force. He's not a third force.
So he won't give you a run for your money?
No. Alan is not a threat, but let me say that the point about this whole thing is for Ghanaians to see the kind of political party MPP is.
Okay, please.
They are managing their political party like they are managing the country. And so, you see, and in all these, you know, the president has checked out. The president is telling us that for the next 1 year and some 3 months that we have to the general election, there is nothing he can do unless a new leader comes. And so you have a president who has checked out. You have a party that is in disarray. You have a government that almost everybody is fighting amongst themselves. And you think, what, because of the fight, if one person has left, all of a sudden he becomes a third alternate. What did he do with the Commander Sugar Factory he came to meet? That somebody has gone through the process, secure funding, built a factory such as this. You could not even operationalize it.
Okay.
One district, one factory. His own party didn't think that he was worth it. They took it away from him. He couldn't even answer questions in parliament like Nana was saying. So the MPP, whether they divide themselves into 10 by having 10 independent candidates, they divide themselves into 2. It is a mixture of the same. They have no developmental agenda for this country.
Okay.
They are not on any part of progress. And when you complain, they say, I'm not so comfortable with the expressions. I must be made happy. What is that?
Let me come to Lerato at this point, because you've heard, you know, what Beatrice has to say. Of course, the fact that already with the MPP, things have gone wrong. Ireland is not a better option. This is breaking the 8. Is it going to work?
Was that your understanding of all the plenty words Beatrice
What
has
is
put
your
together?
understanding?
See, what did you say? What did you say?
So you didn't even understand what I said. You're asking me, is
I
that my
don't understand
understanding?
what she said.
So you weren't listening
Because
to her?
What was she saying? We were discussing Mr. Alan Kyerematen's resignation. Then she jumped. You know, it reminded me of how the story of someone learning grass and going to meet cow in the exam paper. So they mentioned Mr. Alan Kyerematen's name and moved to Dr. Bawumia. I mean, there's no doubt that there's fear in the NDC. But I've always told Beatrice that it will help her. I think the NDC has a party school. It will help her if she enrolls in the party.
Why does she want
Because
to enroll in
it's
the
obvious,
I'm not offended.
it's
She will
obvious
take offense right now.
of
I'm not
NDC,
offended when you say that.
the party, its antecedents, and why the NDC lost the 2016 election.
Don't you think you're on your way as a party to losing the elections as well? Are you measuring the temperature
in all this
of
Bella,
the nation?
Maybe if you let me finish what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just
we can
asking
have
this
a
so you can come in.
conversation.
Have you measured the temperature of the nation?
Can we
And
have
don't
a
you think that
conversation?
you're on your way to
If you allow
losing
me
the
to- if you
2024
allow me
general
to build-
elections
if
because
you
you
allow
have not
me-
delivered on your promises
if you
to
allow me
Ghanaians?
to build my point, if you allow me to build my point, we can
Carry on.
all make sense of this. Look, let's even admit that some problems have been caused. We have challenges. We admit that. The NDC.
What challenges?
The NDC will talk about not using external factors as justification for some of the challenges we are going in. But when their flag bearer leaves this country and is talking to people outside the world, he states emphatically COVID and the war. But let's put that aside. In the 20 minutes or how many minutes that Beatrice spoke,
20 minutes.
was there
Yeah, too.
any alternative? Listen to me. Was there any alternative? Okay, the
This one, Larati is
MPP brought
obsessed with
the MPP brought free
Larati-
SHS.
Larati-
This is what we are going to
We
do.
are broke now.
Nothing.
We are broke
No
now.
alternative.
But
no,
they said
no,
their
no
plan- they
suggestion.
started- they were supposed to do it
Nothing.
progressively.
Why do we come and sit here early in the morning, wake up, shine our face, and come and sit here? To educate and also propagate what our parties and our government have to do.
Wait, are you still
if you
touting
come
the
and-
achievements of
If you come and
PSHS,
sit
Lerato?
here, if you come and sit here, do you think it's a bad policy?
I don't think it's a bad policy, but
There are
implementation-wise,
challenges,
if you
right?
listen
There are
to the
challenges.
stakeholders,
There are
they tell
challenge-
you that, of
there are
course, you have not
challenges.
implemented it
No,
the right way.
I asked you a simple question.
And
Bella.
I've just answered
Is
you
it a
and told you
bad
that
policy?
it is not. Nobody has said it's a
Exactly.
bad policy.
There are
But
challenges
it's the way
with
you have gone about
implementation. There are
implementing. Why
challenges
have you
with-
not reviewed
there are
it? To
challenges
the
with the
extent that even
implementation.
Alan
You get
Kyerematen
it?
says that he will review it.
Oh,
Why have you not reviewed it?
As for
Mechanical.
Mr. Alan Kyerematen's GTP, me, I just think that, I mean, from the way he's
Why did
putting
you
it
not
as a-
review free SHS?
GTP
At the
as
moment,
a sour, but it's
students
fine.
don't have
Come
food
again.
to
No,
eat. And
Bella,
you think that
if
that is
you-
right? You talk about
Look,
enrollment.
she's speaking for me.
I
was
understand.
just
I'm just-
waiting for you to tell me
I'm
that.
just coming
Beatrice
in here
said
at this point because
MPP
you
has
touched on-
introduced
Hold
free
on.
SHS.
Hold
MPP
on.
has introduced
Lerato,
free
hold
SHS.
on.
When we come, this
You
is what we're
talk
going
about
to
free
make it
SHS,
better.
and I'm asking that,
MPP
are
has
you
brought
touting the achievements?
When we bring
1D,
our
1F.
manifesto, you will know.
1D, 1D,
When we
1F.
bring our manifesto,
No,
you
but
know.
Agrobeso if we are not
Look
part.
at you.
What you're sitting down saying, no policy suggestions, no alternatives,
Without
no
policy.
counter.
You with policy, you couldn't do
thing,
quarter.
nothing. Then you
You
have
with
the
policy.
audacity
So implement your
to
policies.
sit on air and say MPP is bereft of the men and the women capable of steering
In
this,
fact,
the affairs of this
they are
country.
scarce. Yeah,
You
it's
sit
scarce
down
need.
here and talk about having a tolerant flag bearer. No longer going much. His own friend, Martin Pebu, who takes every opportunity to take a swipe at the president. When he talked, what did the former president say? That his comments were silly. That is a tolerant president. When citizens were talking in the heat of the crisis we are going through, what did His Excellency the President do? He called various stakeholders and spoke to them. What did the former president
And
say?
what happened after
when we're in
speaking
the
to them?
heat of a crisis that was self-inflicted, no external shocks? What did he say? He's become a dead goat. Whatever you say, say. Even if he goes to put gold on roads in Ashanti region for people, they will not appreciate
But at least
it.
the president
That's the
spoke to
difference
people. What
between
has he done
the flag
beyond
bearer
speaking?
they want to bring. and the person sitting and steering their affairs.
But the person who's steering their affairs,
the challenges we are
during
having.
the NPP Super Delegates Conference, he was asked about how he intends to fix the problems that Ghanaians are facing. He says that we are here to select someone who will now come and fix the problems.
And that was in the context.
Which context?
Most of it. When is the IMF bailout?
That means that he's thrown his hands in the air, and he says, I can't fix the challenge. So we're looking for a new person who will now come and fix the challenge.
Just the last announcement of the inflation rate is dropped by some 3% or so. That should tell you work is going on. You get it.
Is it really?
That is, but what does a reduction mean?
Is it really?
What does a reduction mean? Look, Bella, you and I, on a daily basis, we have borrowed the most. But when you go around this country, you see, when we sit down here and make it seem as if Accra is Ghana, that is where we miss it.
I like that you bring this up.
I keep telling Beatrice, it will help you to travel around this country.
I like that you bring this up.
By virtue of the work I used to do. Bella, you see, if you
carry on.
Then you
just keep bringing these things up. You just keep bringing these things up, and you're saying that you want her to understand that Accra is not Ghana.
Accra is not Ghana.
Lerato, the villages. Do you see how people are struggling?
Ask them, what have you done in the villages? What have you done there?
The villages.
What have you done there?
The policies. You see, when you set out to do, and for my training and all that, you don't criticize when you don't have a suggestion. That is what the NDC should know. They don't. They are empty. That alternative is scary.
There are patients receiving treatment under trees in North Gonja.
There are patients receiving treatment in North Gonja. Patients.
Under trees.
When the MPP, tell me if the MPP hasn't put up any facilities.
Which facilities?
Since MPP came into power.
Which facility are you talking about?
You should be telling
like a health facility?
That facility.
You should be telling
that
one.
Talking. Come again.
Which one?
North
Gonja is what I'm talking about.
That same North Gonja today has used to have issues with anti-snake issues. Because when it rains, it becomes like an overseas area. Today,
you move the patients
when they need anti-snake veil. The last time they needed that urgently, it was drones that they were using. Challenges when it comes to infrastructure. Challenges when it comes to infrastructure are there. Planning when it comes to the local government area and health infrastructure are there. Deploying facilities and all those things don't just happen because a facility, a community has challenges. You get it? You put up a facility, sometimes it outgrows the services it has to provide. That is why you have facilities upgraded from secondary level to tertiary to make up. The Tamale Teaching Hospital wasn't a teaching hospital.
But you said you give us Agenda 111. We're still waiting.
Agenda 111 is going. You are talking about North Gonja. North Gonja is in the Savannah region. There's an Agenda 111 project going on.
What's the update on that?
I'll get you the update.
So until then, this patient is receiving her drip while lying under a tree.
You see, let me not sounding insensitive. This is not something that should happen. You get it?
Patients are sitting in plastic chairs at Kolebu to receive treatment. And you say that what?
Patients are sitting at Kolebu to receive treatment.
In plastic chairs?
In plastic chairs. But you remember, prior to NPP government coming into power, there was a serious issue of no-bed syndrome. Do you hear it today? If you go to Kolebu today, the investment that is being made in the maternity block, the child ward, there are various projects going on in there to upgrade it. Why did the Agenda 111 came up? Because the NDC touted the achievement. You come and build Bank of Ghana Hospital. Great. You've done a great thing. But you see, the health system is built from the primary level to
So
the
what was your
tertiary.
primary
you shut
achievement?
up.
We built
Maybe I
over
should use that word. Shut up.
1,800.
You've been
Please.
interrupting society. When
Please,
you're
Lerato,
talking,
please
I
don't
kept quiet.
please don't be
Let's have a
harsh.
civil conversation.
Please.
I'm never angry
Beatrice,
on
please,
sex.
Nobody is
calm down
angry.
and let her land.
But
please.
let's respect each
But
other.
Lerato, please, can we not be
The health sector.
disrespectful,
No,
please?
No, I'm not.
That's
I'm
what-
not offended.
that's
I'm
what
not offended.
she wants to hear,
Saying
because
saying
she
shut up.
keeps
No, me, I'm
interjecting.
not
Okay,
offended.
please calm down.
You
She
get
can't take it.
She
Me, I
needs
can
to
take
enroll.
it.
She needs to enroll in NDC
Me, I
party
can-
school and
I
also
can
Lerato, we
take
need
it.
all these things, and Bank of
Listen
Ghana
to
is
me.
using
No, no, look,
$250 million
listen to
to
me.
build
Listen
a headquarters.
carefully. You see, when it comes to health, and I always say it, and I say it on every platform that I go, health, education are Greek roads. If you try to politicize them, because today, as I sit here, God forgive me, if anything happens to me when I step out, the doctor or the nurse who is going to see to me doesn't know whether I'm NDC or MPP.
Exactly.
Will not know. I may probably, astaghfirullah, die before they know who I am. So when it comes to health facilities, but you see, when the NDC touts tertiary facilities that they've built, good, you add on to the health infrastructure. But if you don't build the primary healthcare system, if you don't build the secondary health system, build it to the tertiary, it's a referral system.
So you have built the
If
primary
they
healthcare system.
had
Is that
the
what you're
money
saying?
that they had used to build tertiary facilities, great. Nobody is discrediting those credit. But if we had paid attention to the primary facilities, which the MPP is doing.
You are doing that and using
with
$250
Agenda
million
11.
to build
Bella,
the BOG head
maybe
office.
you should understand how
You have sunk money into a hole that's supposed to be a cathedral, and we don't know what is happening. And you say you've built the primary healthcare system.
Maybe you should understand how governance works. At the end of every year, the government presents a budget based on inputs from ministries and agencies to Parliament. We need money for health. We need money for education. We need money for good roads. We need money for good water. So all those factors go into putting a budget together.
Okay.
Everybody comes with their budget. It is approved. Implementation goes on. You draw down. We picked an economy that with no external factors, and we must not lose sight of that.
So you're jumping backwards.
No, I'm not jumping backwards.
I'm asking about the BOG head office.
That's why I said you need to understand how governance works.
Okay.
We've been doing budgeting and all that. We've changed our budgeting processes over the years. Moved from just doing composite budgets to coming to program-based budgeting and all that. We need all these sectors to work for our government. But when you are dealing with an opposition that doesn't understand how these things work, that cannot come out with proper alternatives, proper thing. As this parliament sits, most of these things go to parliament. The minority will get up. Rather than sitting and jaw-jawing to make sure that we get the right decisions made, the right approvals given. You can't
what you're
get
saying.
it because
I'm saying
governance
that
works in a certain context. So if you
prioritize,
want to do cherry picking, you prioritize.
So who prioritized the building of a Bank of Ghana head office and money going into that hole that is meant to be the National Cathedral over equipping our hospitals?
Bank of Ghana head office. When did it start? It started when Ato Forson was part of the board. That idea of putting up a new head office didn't start with the MPP.
Okay.
It's not true.
They planned.
Hold on, Beatrice. I'll let you respond. You let her land.
They planned. Was Ato Forson not on the board?
That's what's not
Didn't they
true.
start
You make
looking
a
for a
point.
land?
That is not
Then
true.
didn't they make some monetary commitments to it?
Okay.
Go back. You are talking about reading.
And then you
Do
came into power.
You sat here and spoke about
Hold on.
Bank of Ghana printing money.
Please
But you're
hold on.
telling me to go and read.
Hold
When
on.
Bank of Ghana came out
Lerato.
and released a statement
So
that
when-
it
if
was
you say-
government commitment.
Lerato,
It wasn't new currency.
If you say that
didn't
he
read.
was on the board.
It's quite
as a
overwhelming
party,
when
you
an
came
NDC
into power,
person
did
wants
you
to talk
think-
about reading.
Did you think that was the most
Do you
prudent
read?
thing to do?
Since when did you start
Lerato,
reading?
are you listening? Did you think that it was the most prudent thing to do at this time when we are broke, we are struggling as a country, and you thought that as a party, the best thing to do was to invest money?
But you see, when you make it seem as if the MPP or the government is the one that determines what Bank of Ghana should do at every point in time, just as we all plan, Bank of Ghana planned to put up this in phases and build it. They've come with their excuses, justification, whether we agree or not. Look, when you are hungry, which we are now, the only thing you think about is food. But that doesn't mean that all the other things. So when I'm done eating, I should expose where my taxes and all the other things I work hard to contribute to this nation should be left exposed. You see, we need to put these issues in context. Nobody, and I don't think anybody from government or anybody from the MPP has come to sit here and said that the complaints, the challenges we are having, the inflation rates and all that are not something we should be worried about. But you see, when you keep going back, when you keep worrying, you lose the focus to fix the problem. That is why the MPP, devoid of everything, is supporting the government to make sure, because at the end of the day, it's the achievements of the government that the New Patriotic Party will go back and sell to the people of Ghana to break the 8.
Beatrice, so Occupy BOG is going on. As
yes,
planned?
I'll speak about just give me 5 minutes.
Okay, well, I brought that in because
let me speak about. I'll bring
Coco, can you give us 5 minutes, please?
Yes, Coco, please, I beg you,
beg
that it will be a balance. So Loretta spoke about the fact that you need, the NDC doesn't understand governance and that you need primary health care before you come to even tertiary. So let me show you. The NDC, before we exited power, constructed 1,260 CHIPS compound, completed and operational. You remember that at a point, salaries of ministers were cut. And that is what we use to construct some of these things. So we have something to show. When they claim to have cut the salaries of ministers, what did they use it for?
For COVID, what's during the COVID time?
So what did they use it for? What did they use it for? What can they show? So primary healthcare, we had 1,600 CHIPS compound uncompleted at various stages. You have abandoned the CHIPS compound. Today you are saying we should pay attention to primary healthcare. I mean, like Annie would say, do the maths. Where are we going? We just didn't do the primary healthcare. We did district hospitals, and I can mention to you, you have the Dodowa, the Fomena, the Kumewu, the Betifi, the Tepa, Konongo, Salaga, Jifopraso, Medina, Bekwai. We just didn't leave it there. We built regional hospitals, 420-bed Ridge Hospital, the 386-bed Bogatanga Hospital, the 250-bed in Sewa in Kumasi, the 160-bed in Upper West. We built teaching hospital, the UGMC, and then the phase 2 of the Tamale Hospital, which is a 400-bed. So when it comes to health, we did primary, we did secondary, we did tertiary. Even with that, you still have challenges with the health sector. So it means that you are not done yet. And so even with our numerous achievements, we used $246 million to replace medical equipment. Today, we are being told that patients in Korle Bu cannot even afford dialysis because they have increased the fees. And the hospital management response is that the subsidies of government have been removed. We have serious challenges. You don't have one of all the hospitals I've mentioned. You don't have one to show. You are talking about foundations for Agenda 111. And you won't even keep quiet about it. I think that the MPP should not even make a mistake.
But why should she keep quiet? She's telling you what they are doing.
What is their record on health? In 4 years, somebody has done this.
I can give you
in 8 years, you are now saying that we are completing. Why will I take Loratu's words over the president? The president says that he will finish at the 111 in 2025. And you are here saying what? I'll take his words over yours. Now back to the Occupy BOG matter. Bella, we live in a country that when you don't have leaders, when you don't have leaders, you had your time, you spoke a lot. Please allow me. I won't say shut up, so please allow me.
Let's speak aloud. Thank you.
You deserve
We don't have time, so please let her go before my director can say.
So, why are we occupying BOG? Bella, the bane of why today our sufferings are not just hard but excruciating is because of the monetary negligence of the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is responsible for what we call the monetary policy, and the central government is responsible for fiscal policy. If there is any imbalance, the whole economy will be upset, and that is where we are. The Bank of Ghana is, the governor is interested in satisfying the ego of the president. And so contrary to the laws, the Bank of Ghana Act, he has printed in excess of what he ought to print. And today, inflation is so high. Today, the MPP is telling us to celebrate inflation a little below 40%. Something Dr. Bawumia said we should download his speech on. At a time, it was 15%. Today, young people, Bella, yesterday I spoke to my friend. She has been dating the boyfriend for 7 years. They cannot even afford to rent an ordinary 2-bedroom and marry. Young people cannot even express love in the economy we find ourselves.
But in this country, 2-bedroom is not ordinary.
That is the thinking.
No, so even if
that's the reality
of someone who says she
that's the reality.
So when you marry, you will give birth, or when you marry, you don't expect them to give birth.
Yeah, but until then, you can't just know the reality.
People cannot afford basic necessities of life. The patients who voted for you, who today are suffering from cancer, you have increased dialysis from 380 to 745. What do you have to say to that too? The people who are receiving drifts under trees in Dr. Bawumia's hometown, people are learning under trees. What do you have to say about that? The video or the thing you were complaining about someone receiving treatment under tree, it is the constituency of the Deputy Minister of Health. You can cross-check. And so even the people in positions, you are not doing anything about it. Today, because of that BOG printed money, we are finding money under the beds of ministers of state. We are being told that $43 million was used to dredge Odo River. Today, everywhere is flooded. And so there is a cause for every person to join the protest. And you know the beautiful thing about the Occupy BOG? It is not anything NDC. It is all the political parties, the CSO, COPEC, Arise Ghana, everybody except the MPP is part of that protest. Okay. Because we cannot continue to live in the country where at a time when we don't have access to health care, the president says, I will sink 400 million into a hole. Okay. At a time when you don't have money, BOG will use $250 million to construct a headquarters from an $81 million. All is not well with the nation. And we must sit up, we must rise and speak against this. So join the organizers and let your voice be heard.
And the whole idea is to get the Bank of Ghana governor out.
Yes, because when
but you know that there's a process to follow if you want him out. I mean, why do you want to go and occupy? Why do you want to go and occupy? Parliament can do that. Can they not? Even bring him on.
Parliament can do that.
Can they not get at least?
Hey, can they not get what? Can they not get what?
Anyway,
no,
it's okay.
Mention. Can they
not
get
no, there's a process to follow.
Can they not get
at
before you take out?
Why are you not
before you take out
the
government of Bank of Ghana? It's just like taking out a high court.
You took out Charlotte Osei. You took out Charlotte Osei.
No. It's not about that.
I'm only doing my job as host. I am not hacking anybody. We have to go. It's time to cash out.
The deputy minister
time to cash out.
Is the MP for
thank you thank you so much, and well thank you to all of you who are sending messages as well. That's the reality. Thank you, Gloria Kui. Thank you so much. Oscar says, Beatrice, you are an Akatamansonian. Well, Lerato Musa Saka is a member of the MPP communication team, and Beatrice Annan Esquire is a member of the legal team for the NDC. Let's cash out at this point. You could win some 1,000 Ghana cedis. And so let's count down. 3, 2, 1. Who could that be? Congratulations to you if your number begins with 054-7173***. You should receive your alert any moment from now. 1,000 Ghana cedis cool chop in your Momo account. Do we play another one, Coco? Okay, let's play another one. So there could be a second winner at this point. Let's take a look at who that is going to be. But remember, you can also play the game as long as you are an MTN user. And so dial *439#, select option 2, and let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Who is this going to be? Okay, 0548-194***. 0548-194***. Congratulations to you as well. You've just won for yourself 1,000 Ghana cedis. Keep playing, keep winning. We have 2 more winners before we wrap up. So again, *439#, select option 2, and you're good to go. Thank you, ladies, for joining us this morning. And yeah,
Happy to be here, Bella.
well, this has been TV3 New Day.
That logic,
We will be back with more. Keep watching.
That